In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create your first Framebatch template from scratch. So let's hop on over to Photoshop. We're going to select New File, and then we're going to select this artboard. Now for Instagram, typically you would use a width of 1080 and a height of either 1350 for portrait or 1080 for the square layout, but I'm going to use 1350, and then we can just call this Framebatch first template. And so make sure to select artboard. That saves you an extra step once we do it. So we'll hit create, and so now we've got our artboard, and I'm just gonna turn on the show artboard names. That way we've got the artboard name here. I tend to name these either 1 through 100. You can be more specific or less specific if you want, but if you have a bunch of artboards, let's say we had 30 of these, it would be easier to find it in the layers panel if you have it numbered. So I'm going to add a solid color, and this can be whatever you want. Typically I like to just make it white. I think it probably defaults to white unless you save as a PNG. We'll get into that in just a minute. So you create this solid color fill. You can also just create a layer and fill it with white, whatever you want to do. But this just makes it easier to edit because you can click and now you can edit this color to anything. So then we're going to add one more layer on top, and we're going to select the rectangle tool. And this is what we're going to create our basic shape with. And so this will be the placeholder that the images are put into. You can color it if you want. You don't really have to. Honestly, this could even be white if you wanted it to, but it's just easier for like visually speaking to be able to see it within the space. So the only thing that we have to do in order to make this work with Framebatch is we're just going to double click the name here, and we're going to change it to image _1. And if we hold Option, click and drag, then you can duplicate that, and then we'll double click over here in the layers panel, change this to image 2, and now we have a layout that has 2 images. So let's say we want to create, 2 artboards. We would just select our artboard over here, press Command J, and that's going to duplicate it. Now for the sake of consistency, let's rename this. All you have to do is double click the name, type in 2. So now we have artboards 1 and 2. And as I'm hovering over this, I'm holding Command and clicking, and that's letting me select my layer. And then you can just hit delete on the keyboard. And so now I'm going to hold Command and click this. And then if I hit Command T, that lets me transform. I can click the side of this, rotate it 90 degrees. I can bring it down, and then we can resize this however we want. So let's say we want more of a portrait inside of our frame. We can do that. And let's make one more. Select the artboard, hit Command J to duplicate it. And now for this one, let's make a horizontal frame, something like this. Now, if you want, you can get very specific over here in this transform properties transform panel. If you don't see that, go to Windows and click Properties here, and that will bring it up. Actually, clicking that, just hit it. So Properties, and you'll see it right here. And you can do cool things like around the corners. You could add a stroke to it if you want. There is a lot of functionality inside of Photoshop. You don't need to know every little bit of that in order to make this work for you. So very quickly you can see how you can create these custom layouts. Once you get a little bit more proficient at it, I could make this probably in about a minute. But editing this, hitting Command T to bring up the transform tools, I can, holding Option and Shift, clicking, dragging, you can very quickly get a custom layout that is unique to you. So before we finish this tutorial up, let's go ahead and save this as a template and then run it through Framebatch. So I'm going to save this. We'll just save this on the desktop, first template. So now when we open this back up, I'm going to name this test template, browse to the desktop, select that template, and then I've already got some images selected here. Yeah, we'll keep that. And then hit batch frames, and you can see that it has populated those frames with images.